The Miami Dolphins have their new quarterback. Malik Willis signs 3 years, $67.5 million with $45 million fully guaranteed. Hayden, a lot of numbers were thrown out there over these last few weeks, few months on, I don't know, a big mystery box at the quarterback position. This ultimately ends as a 2-year, $45 million contract. What do you think of it?
It's just the new middle ground of NFL quarterback contracts. Looking at it from Justin Fields from last year, that was 2 years for $20 million per year, so a little bit more from Malik Willis. And that was at $30 million guaranteed. I think rightfully so. Malik Willis deserves a lot more money than guaranteed than Justin Fields did last year. But it's also lower than the Sam Darnold contract from the year before, where that was $33 million per year, pretty similar in the amount of total guarantees. So this is a step above Justin Fields, so he's going to be the starting quarterback for the next couple of years for the Dolphins. And it's an intriguing dart throw for the Dolphins because there's some really wild Malik Willis stats floating out there. Here's one for you. Only 159 plays over the last 3 seasons, but Malik Willis is the quarterback one in EPA per play out of 75 qualifiers. He's first in completion percentage over expected, and he's 11th in success rate. That's a lot of throwing the football. By the way, Malik Willis is also one of the fastest quarterbacks in the NFL. So obviously, small sample size, alert. But I get this for the Dolphins, and it's cool that they can squeeze this under the salary cap.
There are tons of layers to go through here. I was uncertain if the Dolphins, after getting rid of Tua Tagovailoa with an NFL record, $99 million in dead cap over the next couple of years, if they were going to be able to afford Malik Willis. Now, based on, let's say, some of big media NFL talking points, I'm actually surprised it's kind of this low of a figure here from Malik Willis. Like, it makes sense, again, for how little experience that he has, just 3 starts over the last 2 seasons. He does have 11 appearances. We know that Jordan Love has been in and out of the lineup due to getting banged up and all that type of stuff. Again, that to me is what puts him at this number. And then if he plays well, you get a much larger contract from this. My question, Matt LaFleur is not joining him. So like, what is this fit going to be like here with the Miami Dolphins? Sure, they have a lot of connection. Both the head coach and Jeff Hafley just came from coaching the Packers defense. And then also the general manager spent all of his time here with the Packers front office. So there's a lot of connective tissue there, but those guys aren't coaching him on the offensive side of the ball. The offensive coordinator is now Bobby Slowick, ex-Houston Texans play caller. And I don't know if you can find maybe 2 quarterbacks that are more different on the spectrum than what Bobby Slowick coached with CJ Stroud to now what he's going to be coaching with Malik Willis.
Yeah, Stroud, all that was just like intermediate deep throws over the middle, throwing with touch and anticipation, where Malik Willis, like there was a couple of throws where like in the windy conditions, snowy conditions, throwing absolute laser beams to the perimeter. And then obviously you're going to get a bunch of the zone read scramble stuff from Malik Willis. I will say, the offensive line is pretty dang good, and you can steal a lot of the concepts that Mike McDaniel was running. And I really wish Mike McDaniel was still running this offense, because Achane plus Malik Willis with his run game would have been really fascinating. We'll see if Bobby Slowick is up to snuff there. But they have a really good center. Their left tackle took a lot of steps. They've invested into left guard and right tackle in the draft that with high picks as well. So there's a runway for Malik Willis here. And he's got Jalen Waddle, but he's really got nothing beyond Jalen Waddle. So I'm not expecting the Dolphins to be good. I do think the run game could be really exciting here, perhaps because the offensive line did take a huge step forward in creating lanes, especially out to the perimeter. And I think that Devon Achane plus Malik Willis on the zone read stuff, like, good luck trying to surf that if you're a defensive end. Those guys are going to be as fast as we've ever seen at a zone read.
Look, I'm not going to sit here and start caping for Bobby Slowick. I do think his rookie year as a play caller and CJ Stroud's rookie year is a bit overlooked, underrated. What he was doing from a coaching perspective there with his protection playing up front with multiple tight ends and having just 7 or 6 pass protectors up front to create these awesome pockets and these massive crossing routes over the middle of the field that were wide open in many cases was fantastic stuff. And so do I think Bobby Slowick, who also, again, coached with the San Francisco 49ers, is just going to stick with exactly what he knew back then and force Malik Willis into it? Probably not. I mean, we should at least see, some design rushes and more scrambling on top of it and some type of pairing with Willis and Devon Achane, because that duo is probably the fastest quarterback running back pairing in the NFL at this moment. It's just a team that I think has a lot of questions, and this adds some real intrigue to it, because wherever Malik Willis was going to land based on, what he was as a quarterback coming out of Liberty, where he never attacked the middle of the field, to being, sold for peanuts to the Green Bay Packers in a trade, to then when he entered that offensive structure, LaFleur did fantastic work with him. And now he finally gets like his time in his 5th year as a full-time starter. How do you think it's going to turn out? Point blank.
I think he'll show enough promise to like get the full 2 years. So like that's where the guaranteed money is. I would be pretty surprised if he's not going to be the starter for the 2nd and 3rd year in the system. So yeah, I can't explain the coaching staff. Hafley is a huge question mark. Slowick, like you keep mentioning, is a huge question mark. The entire, Dolphins organization is a huge question mark. They pretty much have like nobody left on defense. They've gotten rid of all of their veterans. So they are going to be in a really tough cap situation too. So like this is kind of just, he's going to have to make the best out of a pretty bad situation. But I did see a lot of growth from Malik Willis, like from Liberty, where a very like chaotic offense, and he took some sacks and some really bad sacks, and he seems to be progressing. I think that's what we should expect from quarterback at Liberty now going into, his 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th seasons in the NFL. I think that he's just going to play a lot more calmer than he did before. And he still has a ton of juice. So yeah. Devon Achane stock up. I think just because he's going to have some, 60-yard runs, just because it's going to be so hard to defend those two guys together. And then Jalen Waddle, it's going to be a little bit up and down for him, but he's been used to that with Tua Tagovailoa.
Dolphins have pick 11, 43, and then 3 picks in the 3rd round, 75, 87, and 90 overall. I'm sure at some point this week, we are going to do a video on who the quarterback is going to start for the Arizona Cardinals. In my brain, Malik Willis was ending up with Arizona over the last couple of weeks. So it's maybe not back to the drawing board with them, but maybe they just stick with Jacoby Brissett and kind of roll with it in 2026 now.
Yeah, like Jimmy Garoppolo versus Jacoby Brissett, something silly like that. Yeah, these were like the most intriguing guys. It's going to be, Kyler Murray, like clear the way. Like Kyler Murray's going to the Vikings, it looks like. We got the Dolphins. So like, all right, Geno Smith to the Cardinals. It's kind of like we're in that tier all of a sudden.
I think at the very least, this is an exciting development for Miami. Again, you had someone who could not do anything under structure, whose body was failing him, in Tua Tagovailoa, albeit I think very good and promising coaching that somewhat revolutionized, as we saw with motions and fly, speed at the line of scrimmage pre-snap to create that separation. Now you don't have that coaching, but you do have an individual playmaker at the position. Again, it's going to be, I think, whiplash for Dolphins fans to watch this change at the quarterback position. That's for sure.
My last note, Malik Willis is the quarterback 22 on Underdog Fantasy. You can play and draft like literally today. He's going to end up as a top 10, top 12 fantasy quarterback once we get to August. Like the rushing threat is beyond real. We've seen so many quarterbacks with terrible defenses, and in the 4th quarter, they're running like madmen. Malik Willis is also like physically gifted enough where he can handle short yardage work. And who's the short yardage back on the Dolphins right now? Yeah, they don't have one on top of that. So I do think like right Gordon. Now, if there's one person, I mean, okay, maybe I'll give you that. But on the spectrum of goal line backs, Ollie Gordon's not that high up on it for me. This is the type of profile we should target. We don't see quarterback 22 price tags for this archetype very, very often. So if you want Malik Willis, get in there right now, because I think that he's going to be closer when we start doing fantasy videos in August. It's going to be right there. Malik Willis, quarterback 11. I think that's just the going rate for this type of player.
All right. We've got plenty of other trade and free agency videos on the way for you. So hit that subscribe button and check out the next one.